Okay, now let's create our own project. File, new project, and let's call this Skillshare Week 1. Okay, so this is an empty project. The only thing in the scene is a main camera. There's nothing else in it. Now, to create a game, you always need cameras which will define the view that players see. So basically, when you click on the camera, you'll see a camera preview, and this shows what the camera is seeing and also what the player will see. So if you see this preview here is identical to the game view here. Now let's create a few objects to make this a bit more interesting. If you click on create and you come down here, there's cube, sphere, different types of shapes you can create, primitive shapes. So that's one way of creating objects. I just created a cube. And another way you can do it is by going to game object, create other, and then let's pick a plane. Right, so there's a plane. Now sometimes it's a little bit confusing where things are in the 3D space, so you want to rotate and just make sure these things are where you want them to be. And a good thing to check right now is to find out where the camera is looking. Right, so okay, so the camera is looking at that direction. Right, so this is the local space for the camera, and Z is the front, and then the camera is looking at that direction here. So we can move this cube a little bit over here and move it up. Click on the camera again, you can see the cube is now here. And if we switch to the game view, you can see that this is what the player will see as well. Now the game view, the game looks a bit dark, right? It's because there's no light. So we want to create some lighting. Click on create, and there are different types of light. The most common one is the directional light. So that's what we're going to do. You can see that we've created the light. And if we go to the game view, you can see that it's a lot brighter. Now, the position of the light, well, the position of a directional light doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the rotation of the directional light. And as you can see, as we rotate the light, it changes where the light is coming from. So you can play with the lighting and change the color and the lighting of your scene. As you can see, it's the position doesn't matter for the directional light. Another thing you can tweak quickly is if you click on color. So on the directional light object, there's a component called light, and type is directional light. Click on color and change the color of the light, and you can see that it changes the color of the light in the scene and how everything is lit. Again, go to the game view, you can see that now you have this blue colored light on your objects. Let's play with this a little bit more. Now I'm going to position the cube right above the plane. Let's see if I can still see it. And I'm going to rotate the camera a little bit so we have a better angle. Rotation tool. Okay, and then just rotate camera down. Okay, so you can kind of see that this is there are lines to guide you to let you know where the camera is pointing at. Okay, I'm going to pull the camera back a bit. It's a bit close. Okay, And then go to directional light, and then you can choose a shadow type. I'm just going to do a hard shadow. You can see that there's shadow on the cube, or the shadow on the plane from the cube. You can see that in the game view as well. Now if I change shadow to soft shadow, you can see it. It's a different style, and then you can tweak some of the settings here, but we're not going to go too much into it right now. Okay, so that's the basic scene. You have a light, you have a camera, you have some objects, and you can move around, you can rotate the object as you wish. And one thing you can do in the inspector tab is you can disable and enable objects. So this is handy when you want to clean up the scene. Let's say if you have many different objects. So here's a shortcut for you. If you hit Control D or Command D on the Mac, you can duplicate objects. So I just duplicated a whole bunch of these objects, and let me just move them around, spread them out. Right, now we have a lot of objects in the scene. And let's say this is just too much to handle. You want to find one specific cube. Say you want to find this one called cube 1. By the way, if you want to change the name of the objects, press enter and then enter a new name. I would suggest making sure that you're naming your objects in a way that you can remember what they are. So let's say if this is player object. Right. So now we have all these objects in the scene, and maybe we don't want to see them all at once. So you can sort of disable them. Now they're gone. They're still in the scene, but they are not visible, and they are also not interactive. So they don't do anything until you enable them again. Now you can disable and enable them during the game, but for now we're just gonna enable them all. Okay,